Hey guys, it is Captain again. I was just going to give you a quick World of Warcraft video. This is a series that I'm going to want to start. Just a little bit of tips and understanding on some of the classes that I play. I'm going to start out with a class I know really well. This is Rogue, and I'm going to be giving you a PvE tutorial on the spec of combat. This is what I've been playing all through Cataclysm, or Dragon's Soul. I know some of you guys like Assassination, Sub, and there's a lot of people that aren't really sure about combat and how it holds up. In my opinion, it is the easiest spec. I'm not saying that it is better than the other two, but during a fight, I find it best to be able to focus on the mechanics, not having to worry about keeping certain things up and all that. So combat is the dumbed down spec, I guess is the way that you can say it, and it allows you to push decent DPS while staying alive, because that is a major thing. I mean, if you're dead, you're not doing DPS, so you're completely worthless to the raid group. So it's going to take me a second to load in. Remember that I'm on a laptop and it's horrible quality, so it's kind of going to be crap, but it's the information that you need to worry about, not how my screen looks. If you don't like my UI, I'm sorry. I try not to mod it a lot. So this is upgrades, or upgraded. This is my Rogue. He is Destroyer's End. He has second stage of the legendary daggers. My raid group exploded. I am about 11 out of 60 or something like that towards the legendaries. I don't have a raid group anymore, so those will probably stay like that for a while. Okay, and I do have the Blazing Drake. He is right there. I can bring it up in my bag so you can see it. Not a balloon. He's not a balloon. That's a horse. Okay, and Blazing Drake right there. Okay, so quick rundown on main hand, offhand poisons. As combat, you are going to want to run instant poison on your main hand weapon, which is usually you want your main hand weapon a slow weapon. You're looking at 2.6. This is commonly in maces and axes, but the legendary daggers are a different story. I'll tell you about that in a second. And then in your offhand, you're going to want a fast weapon. You're usually looking at something around 1.4 or faster. I'm not sure if there is faster. And you're going to want to run Deadly Poison on your offhand. Deadly Poison is a stacking poison, and because you're obviously attacking more often with your offhand than your main hand, you want it there so it keeps those stacks on. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick rundown on my gear. I am running 5-piece of tier... I think it's tier 13, whatever the Dragon Soul gear is, 397. I do have, I think it's 2 pieces that are from Raid Finder, and then the rest, I think my average item level right now is 396, with a 397 if you include the stuff in my bags, which is some PvP gear, so ignore that. So yeah, I'm running the necklace from Vendor, which is nice. It's pretty much the best one you're going to get, unless you're running the heroic one off of, I think it's Ragnaros. I think that one's still pretty legit. I'm running Batwing Cloak, which also is from Vendor. Chest piece. These are the Vendor bracers. I have the mats to make the best in slot, but I can't find somebody with the pattern. Gloves. Belt from Vendor, I believe. Yeah, Hidden Keys. Boots. These boots are from... I think these are off a boss. I'm not positive, though. They're bloody foot pads. Ring from a dungeon. Also, the seal is also from Dragon Soul. Both these are from Dragon Soul. One trinket from Raid Finder, and well, this is the real one. This one's from Raid Finder. This is my only heroic piece right now, which is the shard off of Morchok. Okay, so enough about that. First thing I want to go into is the combat rotation, and my gosh, you are laggy, computer. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you want to keep your hit around 15%. I found this is the perfect balance for your specials. All your spells will hit, and it also keeps your melee at about 8%, something like that, as a mischance. And be ready if you're running these legendary daggers, because they break a lot. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention to you, while you run legendary daggers as combat, there's a buff actually on these daggers, and it is right here included at the bottom on your main hand weapon. It says increase the damage dealt by your Sinister Strike and Revealing Strikes by 45%. This is what Blizzard added to make sure that all the specs of a rogue can actually use this weapon. So they are suitable to be using this. In my opinion, though, only use second stage legendary daggers on a combat rogue. If you have the opportunity, and I know some people may not agree with this, let me see if I still have it in my bag. If you have first stage daggers, run this in your main hand. This is a 403 that drops off of Deathwing, and it has a chance on strike to cause different elements strikes of fire, shadow, and frost damage. That actually will boost more damage than the stacking agility from the first stage of the daggers. If you're not a rogue, these daggers, when they attack, you stack agility, and it's horrible. It's not enough agility to actually make it viable, and it takes too long. So first stage are kind of trash unless you have no cald. Okay, so enough about that. I'm going to go into my spec real quick. 1 second, let me check and see how much time I'm at. I'm only at 5 minutes. Sweet. Okay. Oh, that's Facebook. Sorry. Okay. So, back to World of Warcraft. If I can click it. Go away, little box. Okay, so I'm going to go into my spec real quick. This is my main spec as combat. I run with 2 points in Improve Recuperate, 3 in Improve Sinister Strike, 3 in Precision, which is what gives me the hit so that I can be at 15%. Improve Slice and Dice, 3 in Aggression, 3 in Lightning Reflexes, 1 in Revealing Strikes, 3 in Combat Potency, 2 in Blade Twisting, 1 in Adrenaline Rush, 2 in Savage Combat, 3 in Bandits Guild, 2 in Restless Blade, and 1 in Killing Spree. That is you should have 31 points in your combat tree. Now you're going to bounce over to Sub, and you're going to put 3 points into Restless Strikes, and then bounce over to Assassination. You're going to put 2 points into Coup de Grace, 3 into Lethality, and 2 into Ruthlessness, which brings you to your complete 7, 31, 3 spec. One variation I do want to talk to you about on this spec in combat that I found helps me with heroic Morchok. If you're having problems dying, I know it sounds really weird because if you glyph feign, you shouldn't die. It's that simple. But for some reason, I have problems occasionally. What you're going to do is you're going to alter your spec by taking the 2 points out of Blade Twisting, which gives a 40% chance to daze and reduce movement speed of your target, which is completely worthless on a boss fight. The reason I have this is because it does work on some ads, which is nice. Doesn't work on bosses though. So if you want to focus on bosses and you're having problems staying alive, I recommend putting 2 points into Reinforced Leather. I know it doesn't sound like it's going to give you a lot of armor, but that little bit of armor can protect you from being one-shot. So that is the one variation I'm going to tell you guys that I do. There are other variations. I know some people will pick up this improved sprint just to help with boss mechanics and stuff like that. But in my opinion, I'd rather stay alive from not getting out of shit than popping this and sprinting into something else. Okay, glyphs. Glyphs I usually run, well, I run these all the time. Your primary glyphs need to be Glyph of Adrenaline Rush. This actually increases the time that you are able to spend in Adrenaline Rush. Glyph of Slice and Dice, which again increases the time of your Slice and Dice. And I'll go into why that one's so important in a second. And your other primary glyph is going to be Glyph of Sinister Strike, which allows you to have a 20% chance to add an additional combo point on your Sinister Strikes, which helps a ton. And you attack so much with Sinister Strike that 20% is a great odd. The major glyphs I run are kind of just your preference. The only one that is super important is this one right here, Glyph of Blade Flurry. This reduces the penalty of your energy regeneration for Blade Flurry by 50%. What happens is when you pop Blade Flurry, which allows you to do AoE damage, what's a good way? It like neutralizes your amount of energy regen. So by getting this, it allows you to stay in Blade Flurry longer without suffering huge consequences from it. So yeah, Glyph of Blade Flurry is primary. You have to have that. Next one that I truly recommend is Glyph of Feint. And it reduces the energy cost of it by 20, which is really nice because it allows you now to use Feint as a free skill. Feint also drops your threat, which is great because as a rogue we do generate a decent amount of threat, but it also makes you take 50% reduced damage from AoEs. And